Welcome to On Cupán Day. Folks, I want to share with you another Skinny Club story. And the Skinny Club story I want to talk about now is the encouragement, the exhortation for us to meet together on a weekly basis so that we will be enabled, invigorated, empowered, built up as we continue our journey to our goal, to be the greatest losers. Interesting goal. But there we go, right? To reach that healthy position. And here's the point. As we go to Skinny Club and as we meet and as we go and listen to the talk and as we are encouraged and exhorted and built up and motivated to keep going for another week, we end up then afterwards, we go and we're conversing about how our week has been, and we converse about their successes and our failures, and we go and talk to each other about what it is that we can and can't do and how it is that we can go and bring transformation into the week that is going to come. And the point of it is that is called fellowship. And if a person remains in group every week, coming faithfully, they will succeed. Yeah, sure, you go through the purple patch. I went through one. 10 weeks. Nothing other than up and down, up and down. And it ended up, I went and looked at myself and I was like, you know what? If I was a horse, I wouldn't back myself, but it's a good job that I don't gamble. But anyway, here we go. Right? And so I was like, do I give up? No! You see, if you give up, if you quit going, you know full well that the only thing that's going to happen is that you're going to regress. You're going to fall back into what life was like beforehand. And you know what? For us as people of faith, it is exactly the same. If we're not in fellowship, if we're not going and encouraging each other, if we're not spurring one another on, if we're not going and building one another up, then there's only one thing that's going to happen is that you are going to regress. But there's something else. We are actually going and missing out on the blessing and the grace of God being extended, lavished and poured out upon us. Because every time we meet as a group of believers, Jesus Christ is present right there. That's what he goes and says, where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am. And so you're missing out on an opportunity of being with the risen Lord and his people. Do you know what Dietrich Bonhoeffor went and wrote? And this is very poignant considering that he was someone who went and was practicing his faith during the times and the days of Hitler in Germany, and was someone who went and stood up against Hitler. But this is what he wrote. The physical presence of other Christians is a source of incomparable joy and strength to the believer. Listen to that. The physical presence of other Christians is a source of incomparable joy and strength to the believer. And this is also what he goes and says. He goes and he says this: it is by the grace of God that a congregation is permitted to gather visibly in this world to share God's word and sacrament. What a statement. It is by the grace of God that a congregation is permitted to gather visibly in this world to share God's word and sacrament. Do you realize the blessing, the grace that we have been lavished upon us in this country, that we can meet and freely worship God? And this is what he goes on to say. Not all Christians receive this blessing. The imprisoned, the sick, the scattered lonely, the proclaimers of the gospel in heathen lands stand alone. They know that visible fellowship is a blessing. They remember, as the psalmist did, how they went with the multitude to the house of God, with the voice of joy and praise, with a multitude that kept the holy day. Psalm 42, verse 4. But I want to add to that the exhortation that is in the book of Hebrews. Because if I am someone and I'm encouraged, and I am built up, and I am impassioned by the fact that I go along to Skinny Club and motivated to keep going. And I'll tell you one thing, there was a photograph taken of me last week and I was like, oh my goodness, I have so much more to go. This is ridiculous. Especially when there's 2 skinny people standing beside me in the photograph. Right? But here's the thing. I'm like, I am motivated. I am going to do this. I am going to be successful. Why? because I'm in an environment that encourages growth. And this is what the writer to the Hebrews goes and says. Let us not give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but let us encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. See, when we go along to Skinny Club, we enjoy ourselves in Skinny Club, and then after Skinny Club we have a little conversation again, and we're encouraging and motivating and building each other, as I said, and that's called fellowship, and we can have that. But if you're not in fellowship, then the thing is going to happen is you are going to regress in your faith, because you are missing opportunity. You are missing the grace that has been lavished upon you in this time and this day to be able to meet visibly with other believers and break bread with them and listen to the word together with them, but not only with them, but with the risen Lord himself. I am exhorting you. I am encouraging you. No matter what church it is, step into fellowship. Step into being with other people who are encouraging you and exhorting you and building you up in the faith through the word and through sacrament. We have the privilege of being able to do this, not like in Bonhoeffor's time, where it ended up that he came under persecution and so did other believers. But here's the point. There are many in our world today who do not have this opportunity, and we do. And you know what? We're squandering it. We're wasting it, rather than going and enjoying the blessings of it. Let me just read this line again from Bonhoeffor. The physical presence of other Christians is a source of incomparable joy and strength to the believer. And I can say about our Thursday evening get-togethers that is true. That's what I experience. Are you in a place where you experience the richness and the wonders of God? Let me just leave that with you. And thank you for joining me for this on Cupán.